Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. You'll notice no tabletop this time. I decided to start off with some shooting. This is the first 10 rounds in the Steyr of the day I went to shoot the Steyr and the P10 together. So let's take a look. So obviously you can see from the first shooting, the shooting actually went well for the first 10. This is the second 10 doing headshots, or at least trying to. As you can see, my shots were a little off. You can see they're more to the left, a little bit low. But once you start to really zero in, the Steyr is a fantastic gun to shoot. Again, on the next 10 rounds that you see in front of you here, you're going to notice that the groups are starting to tighten up a little bit more. Again, if you really take your time with the Steyr, you're going to get some very good groups. One thing that I would like to have changed maybe is the front sight. I think the front sight or the big dot's a little bit too big, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with the groups as well on this one. So one of the things you're going to notice is that I am trying to do a little bit better job doing double taps, secondary shots, making sure they get close to the same group. Still working on it. It's not the best. It's not even close to being good. But again, that's part of the deal of being a shooter. The more you shoot, the better you get. And I never have a problem showing you my targets so you guys can see for yourselves. You know, and at the end of the day with the Steyr, this was about 50, maybe 60 rounds, if not a little bit more. And you can see that mostly the target is generalized in the middle of the face and a little bit in the center. So these are the first 10 on the CZ-P10. You'll notice right off the bat they are extremely accurate. I will tell you that shooting the P10 I did have 6 failures today. And when we get back to the table to analyze both guns, I'll tell you exactly what happened with the P10. But overall, really accurate, really good gun to shoot. Again, I continued with the headshots on the P10. Extremely fun shooting gun, I have to say. So the accuracy was there, had a couple of outside where I wanted to be, but nothing too bad. And overall, the gun shot really well. Again, a couple of bobbles today, but I'll show you what may have caused it. So you'll see in this section I actually started doing more double taps with this. You can see I've opened up the target more to the center mass shots, and again they're grouping very tight even with the double shot or the double taps. So overall I felt the P10 handled those double taps better. Again, on this section of double taps, what you're going to see is that they're again a little bit tighter, not too many wide shots. I mean, overall, I felt that there was a very excellent gun to shoot, especially rapidly or even just slowly. Overall, the P10 definitely worked out well. So this right here that you're seeing is really going to be the combination of both guns. I actually start shooting with the P10 first, and you'll notice that a lot of the center shots are dead on. Extremely accurate gun. One shot, the first shot I actually hit was very outside, but then once that shot was gone, the rest were relatively centered. Now obviously the second gun is going to be the Steyr, and with the Steyr I felt like the grouping was very tight as well, although I shot it a little bit lower than I would have liked. Again, if I could change anything about the Steyr right now, it would probably be to get rid of that big dot and put a smaller dot up front. But overall, both good guns to shoot. Again, on this part of the shooting video, what you're going to see here are 20 headshots from the P10 first, and of course the Steyr second. Now the P10, again, very accurate right off the bat. You can see the groupings are very tight, very, in my opinion, very good. I have one low one, but overall I felt that the P10 shot very smooth, very nice, very flat. At this point I had removed the DPM system guide rod and put the stock one in. This is the Steyr that's being shot here. Again, a little bit wider. You can see the shots are going a little bit low, but for the most part, pretty centered as well. Again, both guns are extremely, extremely good guns to shoot. So overall, both guns shot really well, and I don't really have much to complain about. You know, if you guys were to choose either one of these guns, I think you'd be extremely happy with either one. Now, for me personally, if I had to choose one of these guns on the table, one of the things that I'm going to say to you right now is they were both fairly accurate, so that to me is not an issue. I think where the CZ may have an edge is just on the tactile set or reset on the trigger. The trigger is a very, very tactile reset, probably in the same regards as, let's say, a Glock, where the Steyr really lacks that. Now, is that a negative? Not really, I think, because the Steyr makes it up for the size of the trigger. Now, that might seem kind of odd, but one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that the Steyr's trigger is extremely thick, and I think that actually does a good job for people who might either knuckle the trigger or maybe just not put enough pad on of their finger on the trigger. But overall, I think it does help with the trigger pull on the gun overall. Ergonomically, I would have to say the advantage to me, and again, this is just my own opinion, actually goes to the Steyr. I just like the way it holds in my hand a lot better. I think it's just a more user-friendly type of gun. But again, that's going to depend on you guys. It's not going to, you can't go by what I'm saying because everybody's hands are going to be different. But for me personally, I have to tell you guys, I honestly believe that the Steyr just feels better in my hand. With that being said, the P10 feels pretty good also. So to me, it's kind of a close race, but it still comes over to the Steyr. Another advantage the P10 had was, I think, with the sight setup. I think with the big dot, although the big dots are really good at close range, I'd like to probably change this big dot sight out in the front and go with a smaller one. I just feel a little bit more comfortable shooting with this sight, just because the way the sight lines up, there's just a lot of good room in between the rear and the front, and I have to say I do like it a little bit better. Now, of course, the issue of the day was failures. The Steyr had absolutely zero failures. I shot 115 grain Blazer brass. I got a really good deal on 350 rounds, so that's what I went with. Now, I actually shot both with the DPM recoil systems. The Steyr had absolutely zero issues at all, so nothing. No failure to eject, no brass hitting me in the face, nothing at all. The P10, on the other hand, had some issues again. Within the first about 20 to 25 rounds, I had approximately 4 issues with failure to eject. I think it was 3 or 4, I can't remember. And basically just had to empty out the case, and then it went back to shooting. Once I had those initial failures, I pulled the DPM recoil system out. I actually brought the other ones with me, but chose to go with the stock guide rod that came with the P10. And immediately when that went in, I had another few failures with failure to eject as well. So at this point, I really don't know what's going on with the P10. I am disappointed by that because honestly, if I was going to pick one, they're extremely close. But at this point in time, with the failures here and without the failures here, I would say that the Steyr actually won this competition. But again, that's just my opinion. One of the things that I noticed with the gun was after I was shooting it, and one of the things that I did notice, which is kind of odd, is that when I'm shooting this gun, interestingly enough, when the failure happens, I almost feel like a double click in the grip, if that makes any sense. So basically what happens is when I pull the trigger and the round goes out, what I'm feeling is almost like a double click inside of the actual grip, and then I have the failure. Now, one of the things that I did notice, which I actually talked to KS Gun Guy about this, is that on the back of my slide, there is a considerable amount of, and of course now it doesn't do it, but when the gun warms up, I get a lot of slide play. And one of the things that I'm kind of concerned about is whether or not there's a little too much play horizontally, left to right with the slide. And is that a possibility where when the gun gets hot and you shoot it, could it just be maybe twisting the slide a little bit that's not allowing this to eject properly? It could be that, it could be the ejector. I don't really know what it is, but I'm going to call CZ, find out what they have to say about it. And if it means I have to send my gun in so they can take a look at it, I'd be more than happy to, because I really do like this gun. It's a fantastic gun to shoot. I think overall, if it's shot perfectly, the P10 may have edged out the Steyr that day in accuracy, but again, it's going to be based on you, the shooter. You know, for me personally, I like the way this one fits better in my hands, but I will tell you that this gun is very accurate. And from that standpoint, again, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Now, of course, if I had to choose one, like my friend KS always says, I would obviously choose the Steyr at this point. Doesn't mean it can't change, doesn't mean that, but right now I'm going to go with the Steyr because of the lack of failures on the gun. Now, what I would like to do actually right now is actually challenge my friend KS and have him shoot both of these, because I really would like to hear what he has to say. I'm interested to see what he thinks about the Steyr versus the P10, because I know he does have both. And I'd be very interested to know if he thinks the Steyr could edge out that P10, and obviously to see if he has any failures at this point, because I'm pretty sure he hasn't. So I hope you guys enjoyed whatever this is, a review, tabletop / shooting footage. Again, leave a comment below. Give a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe always. And again, just keep in mind, Abaddon Apparel is selling 1776 or bust t-shirts. If you want a t-shirt that has my logo on it, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see you guys out there wearing them. But as always, I hope you guys have a great night. Hopefully you stay safe out there. And as always, freedom is never free.